Hello and welcome to Police Beat. I'm Patrick Lacefield, Director of Montgomery County's Public Information Office. Joining me today are Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger and special guest Anita Neal Powell, President of Montgomery County's chapter of the NAACP. None of us can forget the tragic events that took place this summer in Ferguson, Missouri. It was a lightning rod reminder of how important it is for every law enforcement agency to maintain the trust and support of all the community members they serve, building a partnership based on fairness and respect. Chief Manger, Ms. Powell, thank you for joining us to discuss the events in Ferguson and their relevance to Montgomery County. Chief, could Ferguson, Missouri happen here?
Well, you certainly would hope not. With the relationship that we have with the community that we've built over many years, my hope is that the communication that we have would prevent that from happening. But I'm not so naive to believe that there couldn't be some incident that occurs here that certainly has a profound impact on the community. But I think that what every police department needs to do, and you talked about it at the opening with building the trust, is just to have the dialogue in place. It's to have that communication, the relationship beforehand, so that when something does happen, hopefully the community doesn't feel like, we have no relationship with the police, and then you get, something like occurred in Ferguson.
Ms. Powell, how do you assess the state of partnership between the community and the police department?
I think we have a great partnership. I think that over the years, there's been trust built between us. And, and I'll have to talk about Chief Manger because he's in the community. He is our partner. And I don't say that just because he is sitting right next to me. I say it because it's true. And I think that he's open-minded, and when we have a question, we can go to him. We would definitely get an answer from him. And I think that's what a partnership is all about. It's a give and take situation.
Patrick, I've been the chief here for almost 11 years, and we've had incidents that have occurred that have certainly gotten the interest of the community, and not in a good way. And it's the ability for us to have the relationship in place that we can talk through these things. It also comes down to police departments holding themselves accountable. I mean, it's great to have the dialogue and the relationship, but if when a police department or a police officer, gets involved in something and the department determines, this shouldn't have happened, we didn't handle things the way we should have handled them, the police department has to be held accountable, and that starts with me, and when we make mistakes, when we don't handle things as well as we should, we have to be able to go to the community and say, this is what happened, and here's what we're doing about it.
I also think in reference to that, your community policing is very, very important because they too are in the community. And for example, I know in Damascus you have a community policing there, just all over the county. And I think talking directly to the residents is very, very important.
Right, and what Anita says is so true, because the community policing in Montgomery County is really built on you have the same police officers working in the same neighborhoods. They develop relationships with the people in the neighborhoods. The people in the neighborhood know when something happens, hey, let's talk to officer so-and-so. Same thing with the school resource officers in the schools. It's really about relationship building and the police being part of the community. So often you will read about something occurring in a city or town somewhere, and the reaction from the public is such that they view the police department there as basically an occupying force, not as part of the community. Right. And I think one of the things that we've accomplished in Montgomery County is the fact that our cops are part of the community. I mean, they are there, in good times and in the bad, and I think that's one of the reasons that that I would hope that if something like occurred in Ferguson happened here, that you wouldn't have the same result.
Now, I'm sure that doesn't happen by accident. I mean, there must be some things built into the training of police officers here in the county as well.
It has to be. I mean, the key for any police department to develop a trust in the community is treating people fairly, treating people with respect, It's making sure that police officers know what the law allows them to do and abiding by that law. I mean, you can't be out violating people's rights, on a daily basis. Think about the stop and frisk issues that we read about up in New York. And I mean, stop and frisk is a legitimate tactic for police, but there are limitations as to when and where and how you can do it. And so our police officers have to get that training and do get that training to make sure that they know what the law allows them to do.
Where the line is.
Exactly. And then you can enforce the law fairly, consistently, and keeping people's dignity intact. I mean, you don't, and that's one of the things that we stress in our training to police officers.
Well, let me ask this question.
Sure.
Excuse me. Let me ask this question. I know that when you talk about stop and frisk, that there's going to be a publication put out with what to do when you're stopped by the police.
Right.
And I think that when you go back to the partnership end, basically that's going to be a partnership between us so that we, the community, understand what we are expected to receive from the police if we are stopped. And so that we know that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And I know you have a diversity program or diversity training that, or cultural sensitivity in terms of making sure that all cultures are not treated the same, because they are not the same.
Right. I mean, in terms of treating them the same in terms of people's rights and enforcing the law, absolutely you want to be consistent.
Correct.
But understanding the cultural issues. I mean, you think about the fact that Montgomery County is so diverse. I mean, we have people living here that have come from countries where the police really aren't to be trusted, where the police
And beyond that.
Right.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
police are pretty oppressive. And so they come, they move to the United States, they settle in Montgomery County, and all of a sudden, when they're dealing with a police officer, they really are going to have a different reaction than perhaps you or I might have. But it's incumbent on the police department to make sure our police officers are aware that not everybody trusts the police, not everybody is aware of what the police can and can't do. And so, again, having that sensitivity is important in building trust.
Right. Now, I mean, what kind of advice would you give people, or do you give people, in terms of dealing with the police? Because I know, once I was stopped, for speeding, and when they asked me to pull over, I mean, my heart was pumping a little bit. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And it wasn't even any kind of threatening situation, but nevertheless, I had to have an interaction with a police officer, and I was stiffening up a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's police officers understand that oftentimes what we get involved in are very stressful situations. Right. I kid sometimes and say, nobody's calling 911 to say, gee whiz, send a police officer over, everything's going great, and of course we wouldn't want people to do that. But, very often we get involved with people during difficult times in their life. Very often, if we're enforcing the law, it can be a very stressful situation. But Anita talks about there have been publications that we've partnered with the NAACP, about what to do if you're stopped by the police, whether it's a traffic stop or whether you're stopped, out in public, just police officer wants to talk to you. I mean, those are very useful publications. People should know their rights, but the key comes down to, my hope is that it can be a civil, respectful conversation on both sides.
Very businesslike.
Listen, nobody likes being stopped by the police. I understand that, but the fact is that if that police officer treats someone fairly and respectfully, hopefully the interaction will go okay. I talk about the example where I stopped somebody years ago. I stopped someone on a traffic stop because their brake lights were out. I mean, I know they stopped at a red light because they were stopping right in front of me, and the lights never came on in the back. Well, when I pulled the person over and approached their car, they were just screaming at me. Why was I stopping them? And they were very upset with me that I had the audacity to stop them. I hadn't done anything wrong. Well, they had no idea their brake lights weren't working.
Right.
So when I explained to them, well, I stopped you because your brake lights aren't working, it completely diffused the situation. And now I could have gotten angry that they were angry with me,
Right,
but I mean, so
there's
again,
soft skills to be communicated as well.
There are.
In other words, how to take criticism or somebody reacting in a certain way.
It's about not escalating the situation.
Right.
We teach our folks how to de-escalate a situation. But listen, we hire human beings, and you know, we have a million contacts with people, whether it's a traffic stop or whether it's just talking to a victim or just interacting with anybody. We have a million contacts throughout the year, and I'd say 99.9% of them go just the way I would like, but some of them don't, and those are the ones we have to pay attention to as much. I mean, we need to make sure that we're doing the right training, that we have the right policies in place, and maybe we have someone that's not doing the job the way it's supposed to be done. Right. All of which that we, the police department, have a responsibility to deal with.
Ms. Powell, what did you think when you looked at the television screen and saw in Ferguson, the military vehicles, the vests, the accoutrements that seemed more appropriate to Fallujah in Afghanistan than Ferguson, Missouri?
The first thing I thought about was Birmingham. It took me back to the 60s. And I thought about Washington, D.C. when Dr. King was assassinated. And just, because it was just devastating to me. And so NAACP held a prayer vigil, of which the chief was a part of. And we wanted to make sure that we were in front of the ball and not behind it, so that if anything, so we could avoid that kind of thing happening here in Montgomery County. And Chief Manger, it's just amazing how you do respond when you're asked by the community to come and participate, because anything could have happened at that prayer vigil, because people are angry. Right. And we're not talking about color, we're just talking about people, humans. They're angry about what took place. And when you look at, and I know we just recently got some tankers in Montgomery County, and we're saying, why do we have tankers? And but the tankers are, and you can explain that, and we're saying, okay, why do we have tankers? And so. And
how do we use them?
And how do we use them? Are you thinking about something that may happen, the same as in Ferguson? I think not.
No.
Yeah, briefly, Chief, can you just speak to the vehicles question?
The whole issue is that we do have armored vehicles. We actually have 3 of them, and people will say, oh my gosh, Montgomery, why do you have 3 armored vehicles? Well, we use them for active shooter situations, we use them for explosive situations, and to rescue hostages. And we've done all of those 3 things in Montgomery County over the years. You'd never see them in a protest, you'd never see them in a crowd control situation. And like most people, I mean, I was very upset when I saw that photo.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today on this conversation. This has been a great conversation. I'm Patrick Lacefield with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger and Anita Neal Powell, President of the NAACP. Thanks for watching, and please join us again next month for another edition of Montgomery County Police Beat.
What could I have done instead of drinking? I could have gone to the movies with my friends, paid attention in class. I could have spent time with my family, asked for help. I could have become somebody. I could have saved someone's life. I could have saved my life.
Hey, mister! Down here. You illegally passed the stop school bus. I'm placing you in timeout. And this timeout means big fines and possible points on your license. And more importantly, you could have endangered students' lives. That's why, to curb this reckless behavior, school buses are being equipped with video cameras to help kids like me stay safe. So play it smart, play it safe, and respect the bus.